name is Ashley O'Bannon, and I am a student at East Central Community College. Today, I would like to tell you about infant reflexes. Today, we are going to discuss some of the reflexes of babies and how extraordinary they are. According to an article of Healthline by Linda Bennington, reflexes are the inborn behavioral patterns that begin to develop in the uterine life. How many of you are a mother or father? I'm a mother, and I have experienced these reflexes firsthand. I would like to explain a couple of these reflexes, when they are present and disappear in babies, and what happens when these reflexes are stimulated. The Moro reflex, also known as the startle reflex, is present in birth at babies. It occurs when a baby is not supported as they should be, is startled by a loud noise or sudden movement, and even when there is a sudden temperature change to the baby. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, when this reflex is stimulated, the baby will react by throwing out its arms and legs and extending its neck. Then the baby will bring its arms back together quickly. For example, when you're changing an infant and you open a onesie really quick, that might startle the infant, and this would be their reaction. They would be startled. Well, then they would bring their arms back to them rather quickly. That is a sign of the Moro reflex. The Moro reflex is often mistaken as a sign of pain or fear, and this reflex usually disappears around the age of 2 months. The sucking reflex, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, is present even before birth in babies. This reflex ensures that the baby will nurse and is usually strongest when the baby's palate is stimulated. This reflex is stimulated by inserting a finger, bottle, nipple, pacifier into the baby's mouth. According to an article by Baby Care Advice, this reflex is not only a means of nourishment, but this reflex also has a calming effect for babies. The sucking reflex is slowly replaced by voluntary sucking by the age of 2 months old. The palmar grasp is another reflex that is present at birth. This reflex occurs when the palm of the baby is touched. When this reflex is stimulated, the baby will curl its fingers around and cling to the object. For example, this being the palm of the baby with the fingers in the palm, this is the area that would be stimulated when touched on the baby. So if I was to take this toy and put it in the palm of the baby's natural reflex is to grab this object. This reflex is a means to hold on for the baby, but it can also be mistaken as a fear of being alone. The palmar reflex usually disappears around the age of 6 months old. Our last reflex to discuss today is the plantar grasp. This reflex is also present at birth and is also known as the Babinski reflex. This reflex occurs when you stroke the bottom of the baby's foot. According to an article by Robin Wise, when this reflex is stimulated, the baby's toes will spread open and the foot will turn inward slightly. For example, this being the baby's foot, these are the toes and this the heel. This being your arch, this would be the area that when stimulated, you would get the reaction of this reflex. For example, I take this toy and stimulate this area, the toes are going to spread open and the foot will turn inward slightly. This is the plantar grasp reflex. This reflex, the plantar grasp, has usually disappeared by the age of 12 months old. In conclusion, today we have discussed several reflexes, when they are present in babies, and what occurs when each reflex is stimulated. As we have seen, all of these reflexes are a means of survival for babies in some way or another, and all are quite extraordinary. We should never take for granted the extraordinary talents of babies at such a young age.